Hey guys, have you ever felt like you really want to study? You sit down, put all your books open, and just when you want to start, you can't do it. And then that makes you feel super unproductive and lazy and guilty the entire time. Well, today I'm going to be giving you a few tips that will help you be motivated, productive, and feel good and healthy about yourself. Because only when you're productive is when you feel truly happy. So let's get on with this video. Tip number 1 is to have a regular study schedule. So what I like to do is I use apps like Google Calendar to plan out my day, and I block out the times where I already have classes. Like for a normal student, you have classes from 8 to 4. So when that time is blocked out, you see the remaining time you have during the day, and you can set aside a certain time when you want to study. Like suppose you set 1 hour every day, maybe at 4 p.m. to study math. And when you be consistent and do it every single day, then it becomes a habit and like part of a daily routine that you have to sit down and study the subject at that time. Another thing that comes along with this is figuring out whether you're a morning person or a night person. Some people find themselves really productive early in the morning. They can get all their tasks done in the morning and they feel good about themselves the rest of the day. Whereas some like to stay up late and finish their tasks for the day in the end and then wake up later in the morning. So whichever one you choose will affect your time schedule when you go to sleep and when you wake up in the morning, and that is very important for you to be consistent with it throughout so that you have a fixed and regular study schedule that you can follow, and as you follow it every day, it makes it easier for you to follow and it becomes a habit and a routine. My second tip for you is to know your study style, and this is very important because you have to know what your attention span is and how much attention you can give to each subject. Like for me, with some subjects, I would spend very long hours studying to finish a particular chapter or to finish a particular task and only then go for a break. Whereas for some subjects that were very tough, I found it hard to pay attention for longer durations of time. So I took a break in between and then got back to studying, which helped me remain fresh and keep my memory fresh and attentive towards what I was studying. So you need to know, I've watched videos about the Pomodoro style as well. So you need to know the duration of time that you can study any subject and the break that you will be getting. So this way you will be able to be more attentive and more productive during your study schedule when you set it. My third tip for you is to avoid distractions. I know this is easier said than done because we often always have our phones around us, or when we're working on the laptop, we have different tabs open and we can easily start scrolling through Instagram thinking it's just one post or it's just an important message that I'm checking, and before you realize it, you're busy scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through whatever notifications you're checking, and there goes a waste of time. So to avoid doing that, you can set timers on your phones through different apps that have unique and creative ideas to set timers, and then you put your phone aside without looking at it, and the entire duration of your study you'll be able to focus on what you're studying. Another tip I would suggest you to think of is if there's a family member who's watching a TV show or watching something around you, it is always better to go to your room or to seclude yourself when you're studying, because often when you're studying and someone's watching something, you get distracted and you end up looking at what they're watching. So to avoid any distractions and to focus on your work, it is better to seclude yourself in a place where no one else is around, your phone is not around, and you can focus on your work better then. My fourth tip for you, and I'm sure you must have heard it many times from others as well, is that it is always beneficial to have a to-do list or to have your day planned out before you. Because when you check out every task that you've completed, it always gives a sense of satisfaction and a sense of accomplishment that you have accomplished something for that day. So it really helped me when I would take each task that I have to do. I felt like I was getting on with the day and doing important things that had to be done. So having a proper to-do list or a plan for the day, whether it is on your phone through Google Calendar or other apps, or if you're someone who likes to physically write down your plan for the day, any of those always help you stay organized and help you feel accomplished whenever you finish your study or whatever task, whatever chapter you have to complete for the day. The fifth and a very important tip is do not wait for the perfect time. I know we said we should have a fixed study schedule so that we are more consistent with our studying. It also doesn't mean that if you said you'll start at 6:30, you only start at 6:30 and not a few minutes later even. Because often what happens is if you plan to wake up at a certain time and start studying at 6:30 and by chance you wake up later and it's 6:36, you end up thinking, I'm not going to study now, I'm going to wait till 7 o'clock to wait for the perfect time when I can start studying. Well, my suggestion to you is to stop doing that, because as soon as you get up, as soon as you finish the tasks of your day and you're all ready to sit down and study, without looking at what time it is, you should set your timer for how many hours you want to study and just start. Because the most important part of studying is to start it. Once you've started, you get in the flow and you're able to continue studying. So whether the time is not an even number or it's not on dot at 7 or 6 or whatever time you set, even if it's a few minutes later, that is no excuse not to start, and you should always start studying, because otherwise you're losing out on precious time. My sixth and probably the most important tip I'm going to give you is do not look at the clock once you start studying. The reason I'm saying this is because when you have a desk clock or a clock you're always looking at, you inadvertently tend to keep looking at it while you're studying, and your thoughts get diverted to upcoming events like, oh, I've already been studying for 15 minutes, I guess I should get up and take a break. Or, oh, I've studied for this long and it's soon going to be lunch, I should just get up and have my lunch now. So your mind always gets diverted to what upcoming events you have, or you start feeling like, oh, I've been studying for too long now, I guess I should take a break. And that can really affect your studying. So my tip is do not have any clocks around you, any wall clocks while you're studying. As I said earlier, you can set a timer for how many ever hours you want to study. But once you sit down to study without looking at the timer or the clock, you will be focused on studying rather than focusing on how much longer do I have to study, or how much longer till lunch, how much longer till I can go out to play. So these thoughts won't creep into your mind and you will be able to study productively and finish whatever task that it is that you have to do. I hope you enjoyed this video and found my tips helpful on how to stay productive and motivated, especially with your new school year starting. I wish all of you good luck and stay tuned for my next video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and thank you for staying tuned.